And with the successful TV show, you're back playing Fallout 4 and you want some tips and tricks to get you started. Let's get right into it. The first things you're going to want to figure out is third person or first person. Everyone has their own preference, and now that we can see Sanctuary, that'll be our new home and settlement if you choose to settle in it. There is the Red Rocket Station in the distance and the Concord Water Tower. Remember them for later on. Very important. Now, since we've exited the vault, be sure to scavenge around. You might not know that there's quite a lot of useful containers, especially first aid, as well as some crates just scattered about. Once we've went through that, we'll need a weapon. Now, you may have already got the 10mm inside the vault, which is pretty nice. But if you want to go melee, go inside here and you can get a switchblade. Now, there's a combat knife coming up later, so let's just see where we can get that. As for the billboard here and the opening scenes, we'll want to just move on through here. Now, the patch should definitely fix this. There is a little Nuke Quantum you can find. Usually, it's patched differently from different consoles and PCs as to whether it is here. Otherwise, it could be hidden under the ground. Sprint out, and you should find it directly here with a enticing glow. Again, if it's not here, you might find it once they do the major patch, as it was a little glitchy. Over to the map, you can find it's just north of Vault 111. Now that we've found that, we will have our first bit of combat, if you choose to do so. This is a raider, and he will not be too friendly if you encounter him. So the 10mm switchblade, it's best you've got it equipped, and some stim packs if you get a little injured. Once we drop down here, we can find this little camp. Inside, there is a raider and his dog. Dispatch of both of them immediately, and inside we'll get ourselves the first taste of some chems, a cooler with some items, as well as the corpse of the unlucky fellow that stumbled across this raider. Okay, now that we've found that, we can head on round and get ourselves some starting armor, after which we'll go into Sanctuary. So once we have a little sprint across the way here, you'll find a suitcase sitting right here by the side of the river, and inside, guaranteed every time, is some armor. Not just any armor, usually raider armor and some leather pieces. Go into your inventory and equip all of it. As you can see, it will give you a lot of damage threshold, allowing you to take on a lot more punishment early on. Remember I promised you that combat knife? Well, it's time to stay true to that. Let's go get it. It's just over here on this little rowboat. This, by the way, being called Misty Lake. So the combat knife, once you go in here, is sitting, and we'll see how it stacks up. Compared to the switchblade, it's slightly better. More damage, and therefore a great starting weapon if you decide to choose melee over, of course, guns. Ammo's quite precious, and if you're playing at higher difficulties, this would be a very cost-effective way of dealing with many of your enemies. Now, this house here has two things that most players don't know about. One is the root cellar. Let's go inside. If you are playing Fallout, of course, for the first time, you mightn't be doing survival, but if you're doing survival, then all this food is just a fantastic find. Now, you mightn't have the ability to open the advanced lock safe. For anyone that has never played this before, in order to open the safe, you will need a level of locksmith. Now, you mightn't have even leveled up at this point, which you won't be able to, and you need 4 perception. But not to worry, you get a bobblehead in Concord after you rescue Preston, so you can put your perception to 3, and you'll still have enough the moment you get your next level up. So, won't be able to open the safe, usually, if you come here right away, but remember, and you can come back for it. The gold bars here are extremely valuable if you are looking at trading them. They are worth a whopping 450 value. Again, your barter won't be that great, and you may want to get a wee bit more charisma and maybe a perk or some of the Tales of a Junkie Jerktown vendor to lower the prices. Well, in this case, increase the prices, but they are very good to find. Purified water, if you're doing survival, excellent, as well as plenty of food and some first aid. You'd be amazed as the amount of people don't know this is here. You can also have a sleep if you need to do so. Head straight on out to the Commonwealth. And remember, sleeping is very important. It gives you a bonus to your XP gain, which in the long run is brilliant. Now, climb up this tree and you'll actually find a duffel bag. Often completely overlooked by people. It could provide you with some nice additional ammo as well as a weapon. As for the rest of these houses, check them all thoroughly. You'll normally find lots of items lying around. Some of them have safes in little corners, so just be very thorough and you should find it all. First things first, enter your own home.
Yes.
Inside, you'll find Grognag. Now, this will give you 5% extra damage to critical hits with unarmed and melee attack. Again, if you're going knives or just bare fists, this is a great start. Head straight down to the end here, take a right, and this book is a must-have. Now, some people leave it until they max out all their stats, and then they can get from 10 to 11, or in the cases of a bobblehead, if you had 10 perception, got the bobblehead, you go to 11, and got the book, you could put it up to 12. It's a bit overkill. To be honest, just throw it into whichever one you want. Talking through them, if you want 10 extra carry weight and you are using your fists, go for strength. Perception, pretty useful. Endurance will get you more health. Charisma, better prices. Intelligence, more HP. Agility also affects VATs as well as luck, which just affects everything. So whichever one you decide is fitting of your run. Now when you exit, of course, you can have a little chat to Codsworth, your butler from earlier on in the game. He'll essentially send you on to Concord. He won't be a companion immediately. You'll have to rescue Preston first. Pick up the bobby pin that's normally in this suitcase. It's a 9 out of 10 chance, so that might be the first one that you encounter, so we'll put it to good use. Next, we're going to head over towards the edge of Sanctuary here. Wee cooking station if you decide to make a wee bit of a quick detour. And be sure to fix... Wow! Sometimes you get really lucky. 2 frag grenades this early on in the trash bin. Like, you couldn't script it. That's an awesome find. Next up, we have that over there, which is an APC. It carries a pretty awesome army helmet, which for early on, army helmets are some of the most effective ways to reduce your incoming damage. Considering it's a headpiece, and of course we are not wearing a headpiece, it's a pretty good find. Now, the trade-off here, there's some blot flies you'll have to kill, and occasionally there'll be blood bugs camping out this area. Pick up the army helmet, and you might even be lucky enough to get some rad away to sort of take out the rads that you had to get through in order to get to the APC. Now, once you equip it, you should pretty much have all the damage resistance to take at least a few more hits than many players that would have just walked straight on in to Concord, for example. Now, whilst you're in this area, specifically, you would be best discovering a few places that might be useful later on. Namely, the Ranger Cabin. It also has a pretty awesome skill book inside. The electrical tower beside it has goodies at the bottom, so be sure to loot the toolbox in the duffel bag. I also recommend that you kill any radstag you come across. Now, they are very, let's just say, jumpy creatures, so they'll run away immediately. Once you kill them, take the meat and cook it, you get an extra 25 carry weight. If that's one of your favourite meals and you farm radstags, well, I can safely say you'll have a carry weight for days. Inside here, you can find the Runaway's holotape, but more importantly for us, the Wasteland Survival Guide means you'll take 5% less damage from melee attacks. As we're doing the whole idea that you'll be up close and personal in the early game, especially if you want to conserve ammo, this is obviously a no-brainer to pick up. Next recommendation, of course, is heading straight over to this trailer here. It's a little unmarked trailer, and inside you've got some items as well as a bobby pin box, so that gets you lots of bobby pins nice and early. And with all the animals that you'll be killing on your way, all these supplies are just golden. Now, Abernathy Farm is next. You will get a wee quest to go up to Satellite Station Olivia, and it will become a settlement later in time. So, discover it, and you'll get an XP boost. Again, Just discovering several locations should more or less get you up to level 1. Killing a few animals along the way, again, is a great boost. Now, if we're running over to the water tower here, we'll be able to find ourselves a steamer trunk buried into the ground. This one right here. It respawns frequently, so if you leave the area and come back, it'll be good to go. A few bottle caps. Maybe you'll get lucky with the armor and the weapon. The water tower itself has plenty of purified water. Great for a survival run. And, well, any run. Purified water is always a good find. It's not that heavy. Plus, it gives you 40 HP when you use it. So, it's something I always recommend everyone pick up. Now we're heading over to the Red Rocket, where you can pick up one of your first companions. A rather unique one, the dog. But before you do that, you'll want to head into a little mole rat den. The stuff in here we'll need for later on. As one of the first places in the game, we're going to find a fusion core, guaranteed. So kill a few mole rats. There is a gas leak in here, so if you do fire your pistol, everything will go up in flames. Could be good, could be bad. Pick up the fusion core, because we'll need it for the armor that we're going to find later on. A 10mm pistol and some rounds, as well as a little note on the Trash Busters award. Basically, this Red Rocket was dumping everything underneath, and that's why they kept winning the award year on year. Head straight back on out, and we'll be heading down this way just before we go into the Red Rocket. This house in particular is very well stocked. Nuke Quantum in the fridge, cap stash, and several bits of food items. When you go upstairs, you'll get a pretty nice bobby pin box, as well as a safe for you to pick up, as well as chems. And right behind the door here, we've got a baseball bat, another weapon of choice if you decide to go down that route. Now, before going into the Conquered, we can actually roll our way up here, kill the blood bugs. They shouldn't be too much for you to handle. The dog, which can be found here, running about, is a great companion. For you see, once you unlock enough perks, you can get what's called the Lone Wanderer, which means without a companion, you take 15% less damage, you can carry 50. Level 2, you can carry 100 more. The thing about that is, the dog here doesn't apply. So dog meat can come with you, and you get 100 extra carry weight. And you can also just, he's one of the best companions you can get for that single reason. If you're doing solo, it's always good to bring dog meat about. Inside this tire here, there is more ammo and a toolbox. Be sure to loot all of the local forage. You can get plenty of mutt fruit lying around, wild corn. These things will be great for cooking later on. Now there's a little pier here with, of course, a trash can. It usually has some pretty good items in it. And most people know about this cooler. But did you know that underneath there's a wee first aid kit for the taking? Not a bad wee find if you ask me. Heading over to the edge of the lake. After harvesting every blood leaf you can make squirrel stew with that, which is an awesome thing. Giving an XP boost, so another food that you could potentially run. Break the circuit breaker. That'll allow us to open this. Plenty of starting caps. Also got this fellow with his snub-nosed pistol and some ammunition, as well as a suitcase. But if you jump on top, you can get some Rat Away, Purified Water, and Rat X. So, immediately off the bat, we are running with quite a lot of meds, if I had picked up everything we had seen. And we also got a snub-nosed pistol. Now, this 44 deals a lot of damage. It's probably one of the best early game weapons you can get just for damage. There is a little raider encampment here that you can deal with if you have the spare ammo, spare meds to do it. It's always worthwhile. Run over to the ruins where you can see a ruined chimney stack. There's actually an open safe beside it. Inside there's cap stash and 10mm pistol. And if we run out this way towards thicket, but not too far, you can find usually this dead settler with some chems around it. It can be a bit random whether he's there or not, but it's always worth checking. Alright, so we're going to do a little climb up this hill here to one of the most important places in the game, the robotics disposal facility just over there. Do be careful, there's a raider who kind of camps out here in his little hilltop den. You can get your first taste of jet and some ammo whilst you're here. It's normally a well-stocked ammo box as well, making it pretty vital for anyone playing. Now, the robotics disposal ground is really interesting in the fact of there isn't anything around here until the mole rats. So, how do we trigger the mole rats? Well, we'll want to activate the sentry bot. Inside, you can find the hot rodder magazine. It gives you a flame job for your power armor, but we won't need to worry about that just yet. All the high-grade circuit board's always good. And in the terminal, we can activate it and eject the holotape. Don't play it, just eject it. That'll give us that there. Weapons workbench. If you have something that you've collected, scrap it for less carry weight and you can store it in a settlement later on. Pretty good way of, you know, min-maxing your carry weight early on. Get that first aid and march your way over to the sentry bot. Now, you have several choices on what you can do here, but there is a fusion core in the trunk. If you want more fusion cores, however, bring out your Pip-Boy and head on over to Miss. Activate the prototype. Now, once we activate him, and we confirm that we definitely want to do this, it'll take a wee second, and there we go. Now, you can either engage Defense Protocol, and you can send him to Satellite Station Olivia, the South Boston military checkpoint, and Revere Satellite Array. Issue with all that is he tends to despawn somewhere along the line, so unless you follow him the whole way there, which he will kill nearly everything in the way, it's not really worthwhile. If you want just straight off the bat, you could send him to Satellite Station Olivia, but he won't go in to clear it out. He'll just clear out the 2 raiders that you could have dealt with anyway. So I'd recommend self-destructing him immediately. Now, of course, he will boot up. He'll walk about for a bit, and he won't attack you. Then he'll initiate self-destruct. The mole rats, they appear about now. But whilst he's doing that, you'll pick up a mini nuke hiding behind these tires. But if you want to launch that mini nuke, you'll need a fatman, also located over here. It's the first mini nuke and fatman you can find in the game. Use it wisely, preferably not in all the mole rats. Now, whilst he's going to self-destruct at some point, we're going to walk towards Satellite Station Olivia. It's a good place to discover. Kill 1 or 2 raiders. If you're not equipped enough to go in and deal with all of them, don't worry. Just discover it so that we can come back later on. Because for Abernathy Farm, you need to get a locket from it to unlock the settlement. So it's something to bear in mind. You can get some power armor here. T45. It does improve if you don't come near here. And by not coming near here, I mean basically stay away from this general area. And then if you come back later on, it can be slightly better. Maybe more parts to it. Or you could save when you're out of the area and march on in. There's some rad stags in the area that, of course, we can deal with. And as I said, you probably don't want to use your snub-nosed on them, but it's something you can do. Inside, there is also a flight helmet. And since we have so many power or fusion cores we've picked up, you can, of course, just hop straight in and use this right away. The military helmet cannot come off this skeleton, nor can his uniform. Strange that you can't loot them, but I suppose I kind of see why. Satellite Station Olivia, just over there, there is a little crate that fell out of the vertibird. Might have some rat-away, which would be useful. One last thing, there's a little cooler kind of just stuck into the trunk here. If you remember that in passing, it's a pretty neat thing to pick up. Okay, so we've covered an awful lot of ground, but we are certainly not finished. Head right back on up to the robotics disposal ground. Now, he may or may not have self-destructed. If he hasn't, because he can be a bit buggy, all you have to do is just reinitiate it again. Then he should be pretty A-okay. Once he explodes, which he will at some stage, you will get 2 more fusion cores off him, which I must say will put you up to a whopping 4 so far. And with 4, that means your power armor will probably run till you don't want it no more. There's a Mirelurk nest here, so be very careful when you're in the area, as, well, they can catch some early players off guard. If you've got a bobby pin, and you're able to unlock a trunk, there's something at the bottom of the river here. I normally use this wee rowboat here, which you will remember the armor we found earlier is just over there. So we've done a full circle. If I drain the water, you'll get a better idea. There's a wooden crate there, not of much use. The steamer trunk there is what we want. So if you swim straight down, I'll show you exactly where it is in the map. Okay, well, it's a bit foggy. That made no sense. Just open it up. Now the bobby pins, I'm sure many of you know. Just move it about a wee bit. Don't hold it in the one area for too long. And there we go. Easy peasy. As you can see, inside, it's normally lots of ammos and lots of weapons. If you have Rad-X, pop it before you get in. And if you've Rad away, use it when you get out. Don't let your radiation bar fill up. It's not worth it if you're close to dying. Okay, so we've conquered quite a few places here, but the tips doesn't end. There's a few more things I would like to show you, which means we're back to Vault 111. This is a slightly different route you could take. It still gets you some supplies and early combat if you really are dying for it. So we'll head south by going left instead of going north. We can find Deacon's outpost. Who is Deacon? You'll find out later on in the game. He was sitting here watching us, but there's some dirty water as well as purified for the taking. Now, there is a little shed, a wee shed, just round here. But if you don't have a bobby pin yet, which you may not have actually got, then you won't be able to open it. But if you already got a bobby pin, then it's certainly worthwhile going around here. Lots of blood leaf around, and a novice door. After you easily open it, you can get yourself some early things for your settlement. Wonder glue, great adhesive, and used oil can. Also not a bad find. At this point, you'll probably start to notice the junk that you pick up contains certain items. So gold here obviously contains 10 gold. Adhesive from Wonder Glue. If you ever see Wonder Glue, pick it up. Adhesive is a fantastic junk item. Or, well, crafting component. So it's something that anytime you see, you pick it up. You find a wee bottle or economy Wonder Glue, it's great time all round. This is a little medical tent. There are some first aid for you. And a mattress if you want to sleep off any damage that you may have accumulated already. This can be a bit of a random encounter. I've never seen this before, so I'm assuming it's random. An advanced lock safe and a wee pile of junk. What's not random is a collection of raiders here. Now, the ranger cabin, you can just spy in the distance. These raiders can be quite formidable as there are about 4 of them and several dogs. Even more dogs if we jump up here. Now, this is an unmarked location I personally never knew of until now. There's a dead raider with some extra armor pieces and another suitcase of armor. So, instead of going to the lake, you could just head south and get the same result. Except this involves a bit more fighting. Now, from this point, we're going to head further south. Now, what this will bring you towards is this unknown trader. He doesn't have a location, you can't fast travel, but he has a lot of junk on him. As well, he's pretty content in you harvesting everything. So have a little chat and you might be surprised what you'll find. In here is regarded as stealing, but if you sneak, there isn't much punishment for it. So take everything before heading on east. Now we do want to end up at Wicked Shipping, because in the early game it's one of the best things that you can possibly do. There's also a little gravesite over here that contains some chems, cigarettes, and a baseball cap. Might be useful for you. It's just west of the ranger cabin. Now, one thing that I would recommend you follow is the little streams here. The reason for that is these streams contain about 40 to 50 blood leaf. And again, it's a great food item if you want to eat it. It's great for crafting, and it can make squirrel stew to get an XP boost. Now, the reason we arrive here at Wicked Shipping is twofold. One, we want the key to get into all the trailers. And two, there's a pretty good magazine that if you're doing a melee build is well worth calling in. Open the door, and what you'll want to find in here is the key. Very important that we get it.
Yes.
The Grognag comic, you're up to 10% if you grab the one in Sanctuary. By the way, the S-fans are a great source of screws and I believe gears. 2 screws, 2 gears, and 2 steel. They are heavy, but those are invaluable components that you'll definitely need until you get high points in Scrapper. So remember that, and it'll be pretty handy for you. Use this key to unlock the trailer. Inside, you'll find a wooden crate, but more importantly, a steamer trunk full of goodies. We're going to find a second one very close nearby. So, again, grabbing this key will give you access to 2 fully stocked trunks of items. Next up, we have another wee shed, or shack, I suppose. You might find some items in the fridge, Nuka-Cola, a bit of cram. Inside, even more beer, and lots of cigarettes. Cigarette cartons, again, are one of the best junk items you can pick up. They weigh near nothing. They have asbestos, plastic cloth, and they have a value of about 50 caps. So once you get your charisma up, you could sell them, if that's the way you want to go. Or potentially, you could end up just scrapping them. The components in the game, there isn't so much that you'll, lose your mind going through it. There's actually just several vital ones. Gears, screws, of course, adhesive. Those are the primary ones. There is another way of getting adhesive that I'm going to show you once we unlock the settlement here. And I'll do that just at the side. One of the next buildings you may want to visit is the Drumlin Diner. The reason I'm going towards it is I actually want to show you not only a wee camp up on the billboard here, but Trash Can Carla can be found just beneath it. Now, the reason I want Trash Can Carla, which is here, there is a sarcastic response. It's the one at the left side. I might have pointed the wrong direction in the camera, but you get my drift. Always select it. You will get a permanent, I think it's like 5% discount from her, which, I have to tell you, is very worth it. Her camp has plenty of items, somewhere to sleep, and a chem cooler and some ammunition. Next up, as we go further south, you'll encounter the Drumlin Diner. Now, this place has a wee incident between Wolfgang and Trudy.
Hand over the goods.
You don't have to get too close for them to start talking, and you can resolve it whichever way you want. If you decide to kill Wolfgang, you can take all his items. If you decide to kill Trudy, you can take all her items. And the other one will become a traitor. Resolve it peacefully with good charisma and a bit of luck, and you'll get 2 traitors. Trudy does have a unique weapon, so if you're going for a run where you want everything, then you'll have to factor that in, let's just say. There's a trailer right beside them, which contains a porta diner. And occasionally you could get even luckier and get a Nuka Cherry, Nuka Cola, and a Nuka Quantum inside the vending machine. That's really hard to beat. Next up, we've got the second Wicked Shipping trailer. Cracking this baby open will give you access to the second steamer trunk and the sorry sod that got locked in here. With that, you're probably brimming with items at this point. Be sure, by the way, to actually discover anywhere. So the Drumlin Diner, walk over to it, and if you see somewhere, just start walking towards it. It's a fantastic tip. Now, the Walden Pond here has a little encounter inside of this house. Normally, there's a lot of dead bodies and the remainders of whoever killed them all. In this case, it's a lot of rad scorpions and a lot of raiders. Take everything before moving on to our next place. Now, this next spot that's coming up is just beyond this point. Now, do be careful. There is a gunner encampment right here. Might be better to go up north and around it, near that wee pillbox. Underneath, there is a little trap of a camp, which will set the car off. That'll kill most players pretty much instantly, So it's a good thing I forgot about it and was able to trigger it for you. Moving a bit further here to the west, we can find a cat meat trader. Yes, they sell cat meat. They breed cats, kind of like chickens, and then kill them, sell the meat. Well, judging by the graveyard and the general treatment, a lot of people kill that person on sight, but it seems like a pretty legitimate business if you ask me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Heading on, you'll find a random encounter at this little tent. Occasionally, it'll be anything from ghouls to raiders. In this case, it seems some scavengers were out alive. There is Walden Pond, and if you do want a unique item, be sure to go in through the tunnel, and you'll be able to get a unique pipe wrench. But you'll have to kill an awful lot of raiders, so for a starting tip, it's not really the best, because it requires a lot of killing. But the next item that I want to show you that is quite vital is a Wasteland Survival Guide. Now, the reason I would put this so high in my list is because meat is a very valuable thing. Gets you XP for cooking, and overall, it's just a great thing to have. Namely, because if you get 2 radstag meat for every radstag, well, that just compounds. So I can kind of triangulate this for you guys. If you see the grain silos to the west of the compound, it's the most southwestern cabin. One with the ghouls and the steamer trunk.
Excellent.
So permanently collect extra meat from animal kills. It applies to basically every animal. So you'll get double the meat from radstags, marlurks, mongrels. Anything that you kill, you get double in terms of resources from. Now, if we head over here, there is a chance. I've always been told that this tends to be a legendary rad roach. We'll test that out. Occasionally it is a legendary one. There's also a raider, suitcase, and it's the dog here for the taking. Now, once we've covered everything that we just did, you're off to a better start than 99% of most players. Although, my main advice for Fallout is take it slow, do it location by location. If you find we unmarked things, it's great. I specialise in them here. But all this was achieved, and we didn't even talk to Preston yet. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't. By all means, go there. You need the perception bobblehead. It's good to get Sanctuary as a settlement. But with the Red Rocket, all you have to do is kill the mole rats. If you already kill them in the den, they won't appear, and it'll automatically unlock the Red Rocket as a settlement for you. Now, let me give you some quick settlement tips before we finish off. Once you've done a good bit of collecting, you've unlocked the Red Rocket Station. You'll want to make some mud fruit plants. Make sure you collect them whenever you do, so you can plant some. Get tato, which you can get from Abernathy Farm, or corn, which you find just randomly about the place. Now that you've planted 3, well, as many as you want of each, put down a water pump. From all the starting resources and from just scrapping everything that you can in the area, you should be able to get enough to build these required items. Don't worry, you already have a cooking station. And then all you have to do is go over down to utility. And with 3 corn, 3 mop fruit, 1 purified water and 3 tato, you'll be able to cook this vegetable starch, which will give you 5 adhesive a go. That should solve most of your crafting problems. And for the need of that material. Again, grabbing wonder glues is also just a great way to go about it. And later on, shipments. Well, once you upgrade enough and you get the likes of water purifiers from the, unlocking the level 1 science perk, which is all you need. This one right here, which means you need 6 intelligence. Normally means intelligence is one of the best things you can get. In terms of perks, just so we can go through them here. If you are punching, then Iron Fist is a no-brainer. As you upgrade it, you'll get plenty of bonuses, and by the time you get level 5, your punches will do double damage. Now, you do need level 46 for level 5, but again, it's a slow increase in your overall damage. Melee weapons, knives, bats, big leagues is the way to go. Non-automatic rifles, if you're using the likes of a hunting rifle, and it's anything that's just not automatic, the 44 pistol, for example, you will go rifleman. If you go the likes of fully automatic, you'll want Commando. It's really good. So, what other things might you want to go? Well, potentially Hacker. Get it up to level 3, you'll be able to do Master Terminals. Level 4 is more of a luxury. Lockpicking's the same. Level 3 is really all you need, just so you get Master Lock on that one. Next up, in all of these, I would highly recommend 1 point in just level 1 science. Get your water purifiers, as I said. You will need local leader, though, to get a wee bit more going in your camp. My personal favourite, well, second favourite, is Scrapper. Get that to level 3. Raid, say, all the weapons in a firefight and scrap them. You'll have more screws and gears and steel and all the components in the world. The higher the level of weapon, anything that says short in front of it, like a short assault rifle, if you're not using it, scrap everything. Once you get this to level 3, you do need level 40. I hoard weapons in the early game. Wait for level 40, scrap everything, and then you have more items than you know what to do with in your settlements. Again, potential way to go about it. If explosives are your thing, level 5 perception will get you that. And again, upgrading that will mean your grenades and all will actually do something. One thing that goes so underrated is Idiot Savant. This means that you get 3 times XP randomly with a greater chance the lower your intelligence. Means you can run low intelligence builds, though that does mean that you don't really get Scrapper Science. But even if you maintain maybe just 6 levels, that would get you a lot of the key perks, whilst Idiot Savant maxed up to 3. Honestly, it's probably one of the first perks you should take. And I mean that right away. Level 2 as fast as you can. And level 34 you pick it up straight away. It is one of the most worthwhile. It helps you level up. You pick a lock, you hack a terminal, you'll get more XP. It's a no-brainer. Idiot Savant every time. I picked it up late in my 100% run, and you shouldn't. You should pick it up right away. It should probably be your first perk if you don't need Hacker or Locksmith. Again, in this I'm currently running just 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 across the board. Use the special book, got the luck up by 1. You could pick it on whatever one you want. The bobblehead from Preston will give you 1 perception anyway, so always bear that in mind. And yeah, this is quite balanced. Some people drop it down, although don't sleep in any perk too much, because you will want to unlock perks or specials. Don't sleep in any of them, because you'll often want to unlock things later down the road, as you can see. So that covers basically everything. I have one last thing that you may miss, and I know I definitely didn't point it out. There's a duffel bag at the statue as you cross the bridge. There's obviously the bodies there, but there's a little safe that has some early stim packs over here. If you were walking from the APC, we probably would have come over this direction, and it's so easy to miss. I even missed it there. This open safe has several stim packs and some 10mm rounds for you to pick up. So again, be sure to call on over. And with that, that's everything. That is most of the unmarked locations and most of the interesting finds in this general area. Counting out, we didn't go into Concord, obviously, or anywhere east. Again, have a little look at all these places. You never know in your next playthrough, you might have not known something here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great time playing Fallout 4. Thank you.